Yes, we're back. It's Tuesday night on the Boys on the Bus, and it's time for a wee episode of Tic Talking. A few things to catch up on, a few things to go over. Some more transfer rumours. Nothing concrete yet. Nothing over the line. We're used to that saying at the moment as the way things are going. But yeah, some big rumours today. Some rumours that a lot of people are not too happy about. A very divisive name. So I thought, you know what? I really hop on here and have a chat about it because yeah, you go over Twitter right now, and yeah, Jamie Vardy's name is everywhere right now. So a lot of opinions flying around. So yeah, we'll be talking about that tonight. And of course, there's a certain game going on. I know there's a game going on right now that a few people are keeping an eye on. But of course, tomorrow we've got our own Champions League qualifier to play against Kairat of Kazakhstan. So we will be talking about that. Massive game coming up. So biggest game of the season so far, and we're only 3 weeks in. So that's where we're at right now. But yes, we'll be talking about that as well this evening. So yeah, joining me tonight, you usually have, when he does appear, it usually is a Tuesday. But yes, David Logue, the last time you were on, it was a Tuesday a few weeks ago, and you're back, mate. Your new home seems to be Tuesday nights, but it's good to see you again, mate.
Got to keep the gimmick up, Phil. That's
it,
David Tuesday Logue.
Yeah, it was on the old pod as well. Tuesday ticket,
Mr. Tuesday night.
Mr. Tuesday ticket, indeed. Aye, exactly. So it's good to have you back on, mate. And yeah, it's a wee bit later than we'd usually be on as well. But well, obviously there's a certain football game going on, which I think a few people have got an eye on. So it's probably good that we did go on about this time because full time is due there pretty soon. So yeah, we don't want to clash too much with that one. But anyway, before we go any further, folks, what we do get into what's going on, let's talk all that good stuff. Of course, we help the channel out massively. Again, we're still progressively growing. With every episode, we get a few more subscribers, a few more views and whatnot. So of course, hitting the like button helps us out massively, gives us more traction with the old algorithm out there on YouTube. Can get us recommended to more people who like Celtic related content. So of course, help us out with that one. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. We're on 550 something at the moment, so we're going along pretty nicely there. The next target is 1,000. We're still a wee well away from that, but we've passed by the 500 mark already, so we're doing no too bad for the channel that only began uploading about a month and a half ago, so it's not too bad really. What else can you do as well? You can of course get a membership if you wish as well. You can join us for $1.99. I've got a wee Celtic scarf next to your name in the YouTube chat. As I keep saying, what more could you want? Get yourself a green and white Celtic scarf to show that you're a member as well on the Boys on the Bus. Again, as I've always said, our content of course will be always free. There'll be member-only content, nothing behind the Patreon. It's just to help us out with, just keeping the wheels moving on the bus. And, of course, you can still share the link of the new channel far and wide on whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And, yeah, with all that, and of course, get involved in our comments night. And if you want to keep us up to date with the score that's going on right now, I'm sure you as will. But, yeah, David, let's get into it, mate. Tuesday nights, Tuesday ticket was usually a transfer night as well during the summer. So it's been a bit dry. Let's be honest, the window has not exactly lived up to the high hopes that I think many of us had. But yes, today, a name that just will not go away, as it says in the title, the rumour that will not go away. Jamie Vardy's name. So the first time it's came up this summer. In fact, even last summer as well, it was coming up as well, because again, with Brendan Rodgers being manager, there's always going to be lazy links to players that, played under him at previous clubs. Of course, we signed Kasper Schmeichel a year ago as well from his time at Leicester. You obviously knew him there. But yeah, the Jamie Vardy one keeps coming up. And of course, we do, as you know, we need a striker. We did let Kyogo go in January, and it is August now. We're a wee bit on from there, and we still haven't brought in another striker to replace him. Are the club putting all the eggs in the Adam Eder basket that they think he is the answer? I don't know, a lot of fans will beg to differ on that one, but yeah, Jamie Vardy's name is back on the table again. 38-year-old free agent because he left Leicester at the end of last season. An absolutely horrific season for Leicester. They were relegated pretty easily last season, didn't put up much of a fight. He did score a few goals in that team, even though they were absolute muck. But yeah, it's just because he hasn't played a game since May. Been a free agent since then. And we know what it's like when players come in, David, and how it's about getting them up to speed. I get a funny feeling that given Jamie Vardy was never one of the sort of pinnacle of fitness at the best of times, with some of the antics he got up to, I don't really see how that one's going to work out very well for us if he was to turn up in the next few days.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you can't get away from the fact that he's 38 years old. You just can't, and that I think that's what's Like Jamie Vardy is a blockbuster name, like Premier League winner. Like I think he broke a record of how many consistent games he would score in consecutively. He broke that record that year as well. But that was 2016. you know, like,
Yes.
nearly a decade ago now. Like, and it's just like okay, even maybe even just 2 seasons ago, if we got it linked to him when Brendan came back, you might have went, all right, you'd be maybe a little bit more on board. I know the argument is, I mean, he probably will score a barrel load of goals up here. I don't know that. Maybe he might do, but when you, how long is it going to take him to get up to speed? Like you say, he's not kicked the ball since May. He's not. We don't know what kind of is he keeping himself fit? Has he been training with somebody? Has he still been hovering around Leicester to like just get the minutes in, like in terms of getting just being in the gym and trying to keep himself as fit and ready as possibly can until he gets a club? I mean, if he's as good as the people that are saying it's a no-brainer to sign him, is why hasn't nobody signed him yet? He's been linked with Wrexham. He's been linked with a couple other championship clubs. I mean, I kind of feel like the Wrexham links were just simply because he's a blockbuster name, and they've decided. I think they've decided to step away for that one. If we do sign him, what does that say about our recruitment policy, our recruitment team? There's a lot of question marks rather than answers if we sign Jamie Vardy. I feel if I was told, listen, we're going to sign Jamie Vardy and enter £8 million rated striker or whatever, I'd be probably more on board with it. I'm not gonna be upset if we sign him. I think that the people that are arguing he will score goals up here are probably correct. I mean, he still scored 9 goals in a struggling Leicester side last year.
Yeah.
And you look at his goal scoring record. I mean, 9 goals in 35 matches in the 2024-25 season. He'd scored 18 goals in 35 matches in the Championship in the season of 2023-2024.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Championship standard of football is good, it's competitive. I mean, even at 30,
better than most teams in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, even 36, 37, he banged in 18 goals. I mean, his legs, he won't have the same pace that he's had, obviously, a few years ago, but I still think he's got plenty of pace left to burn, even at 38. But it's the whole, I'm worried that he's going to fall into that category of Premier League players that should scoosh this league and then don't. You can take a look at the Jermaine Defoe signing Rangers did a couple of years ago, and I think a few of us kind of smirked a little bit at that, signing a 36, 37-year-old kind of has-been, if you want to call it, and he ended up doing reasonably well for Rangers.
Yeah.
So there is two sides to this coin, and I think that's the problem that we've got here.
Yeah.
I can see both sides, and I'm trying not to sit on the fence too much because it's one of those ones that it really could go either way with a player. I sound like Jamie Vardy. It'll pique interest, and he'll be an absolute the shithousery that comes with him. All the shit that kind of comes.
There'll be a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite exciting, and it could be like just one season of just pure this absolute goal scoring machine, or it could be, well, he's no match fit. We're waiting and waiting and waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks to see if he's match fit. And then it could just be a massive disappointment. And I know none of this really is helping either side of the argument, but I think that's where we're all at as fans. It's like, it's Jamie Vardy.
Yep.
It's 38-year-old Jamie Vardy. And then McLaughlin P is just a perfect example. He's 38 Giroud, and he's at Lille.
Aye, that's right, Giroud.
And I couldn't believe it when I seen him in that friendly against West Ham. I was like, I thought he'd went to LA to retire and then found himself back in France. And I mean, I'm sure he'll probably do just fine. Like maybe some players still just have it, Phil. And just maybe Jamie Vardy for one season might just be that blockbuster signing that turns out to be brilliant. Who knows?
I've bookmarked quite a few comments that have came in that just again sums up the where the fan base is. And if you go on Twitter right now, it's very mixed. So we've got Edward McGuigan saying better off with Reg Vardy from off the buses. We've got Craig White CSE saying it's a myth, Vardy's too old, he'd be class here for a season, still as fit as a butcher's dog. Alan Devine saying think he would run a muck up here, TVH. Ian McIntosh says Vardy would be primarily for the Champions League, juggling by timing. James Kennedy saying Vardy too old for Celtic, he's had his day. Dennis Jameson saying no pre-season for Vardy, which we've said was was
I think that's
the
big concern for people. Is the
well, Stephen Ray said this though. Vardy's manager at the start of last season, Steve Cooper, God, I forgot he was even the Leicester manager, but Steve Cooper was asked about Vardy's fitness. He says his numbers are off the charts. He played nearly 40 games the season before. Fitness probably no issues. So
he's a bit of an enigma, Jamie Vardy. I don't sometimes I don't think you know what you're going to get with the guy. It's just like, I mean, he's tanning Red Bull before a game, literally on Sky Sports cameras. Like, just doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, this is who I am. I mean, this is like they were literally talking about Hollywood movies for this guy at one point because his story was just ridiculous. Like he is the stereotype English lad culture figure. Like just see him kicking about at Sunday League, and then like on it all weekend, playing hungover. Like you could just this lad culture, and then but like he's just stupidly good at football and has managed to become a Premier League legend or cult hero or whatever you want to call him. Like, and again, take away the age and whatnot. When you see the blockbuster name of Jamie Vardy, you can't help but get slightly excited about it. But I just have my reservations about what are we going to get if, because it is a big if. You know, I think. Am I right in saying that Brendan actually mentioned his age in the press conference today when he said, "I don't want to talk about players"?
Yeah, the thing was he didn't deny it. There was a very similar quote a year ago when he was asked about Kasper Schmeichel directly after I think we played United, I want to say, in a friendly. And there was a lot of questions at that point about the goalkeeper situation because it was still Scott Bain was the only goalkeeper option we had. And he was asked about Kasper Schmeichel, whose name had been sort of doing the rounds in a similar way. And he was very much, he didn't want to comment too much, but he didn't deny it. And that's what a lot of people are drawing comparisons to with the Vardy thing today, where again, he was like, I don't want to comment on other players. So usually would say that if the other player belongs to an actual team because you don't want to make it look like you're tapping up. This guy's a free agent. But instead, I don't want to comment on individual players or anything. But if he didn't deny it. So that's where people are drawing the sort of comparisons. It was similar to what happened to Schmeichel a year ago, where there was a wee bit of a glint in his eye when he did it, where you're like, he's not backing away from this. He's not like, because he was asked about Odsonne Edouard a few weeks ago when that rumour was doing the rounds, and he made it quite clear, Odsonne Edouard's not on our radar. We're not looking at him at all. So he basically nipped that one in the bud there. But with that one, it was just kind of, he didn't exactly say no. He didn't say, oh, we're definitely going for him. But yeah, there's people reading into it, definitely.
I think Brian Warrior makes a good point. He says, would you rather Cardi, he then fixed it to Vardy, coming off the bench versus Bayern or Kenny?
Aye. Well, I'd highlight this one evening, boys. I've got a question: Vardy or Kenny going at the Champions League? What's your answer?
I mean, that's a perfect. See when it gets put. See when it's as black and white as that. It's a fairly obvious answer. I think everybody picks Vardy. I think I think it is a bit of a no-brainer because of again, when you go, it's the age and it's not the quality of the player. My worry would be, could his body handle what is required at Celtic? We play stupid like 40 plus games sometimes, depending on how far we go in competitions. You could be pushing 60 games a season. Obviously, he's not going to be playing that every week, but is he going to, is it bringing him, does he instantly become our number one striker? Or does he become the guy we bring off the bench to change a game when needed?
Yeah.
Or you maybe play him, from the start, knowing fine well you're going to have to bring on Adam Ida at some point. Like that's another question that I feel needs to be answered. It's like, well, we're bringing him in for the Champions League and a Champions League only because we don't want him breaking down and we'll just use them sparingly. And I'm like, all right, so what? I mean, I know I say all the time, like as a fan, I shouldn't be concerned about what Celtic do with their finances. It is like, could the wages be used elsewhere? The biggest question, Phil, is does Brendan Rodgers believe there isn't another striker out there that's better than Jamie Vardy right now that's available? And I wonder if that's the issue, or is the issue that he doesn't trust our scouting team to find a better option right now than Jamie Vardy? Because when you're talking about the Kasper Schmeichel scenario, I think we all kind of came to a conclusion as a fan base. Terry certainly did on one of the episodes of the Bhoys, and I totally wholeheartedly agreed with him. It was very much what about this goalkeeper? Nope. What about this goalkeeper? Nah. What about this goalkeeper? Absolutely not. Right, you've had your three options. I'm bringing my guy in because you're not finding what I'm after. And I wonder if it's gotten to the point where Brendan's been given, we're going to give Kenny a new deal. Right, fine. We're going to bring in Shin Yamada. Right, fine. But right now, none of these guys are fitting the bill. You've had your chances. I'm bringing in Vardy until we figure something else out.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the case again, then we've got no further on a whole year later. Yeah. And you wonder what is going on in that scouting department.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, and I don't want to step away from Vardy right now because I know it's the hot topic, right? Mm. But I want to lead on to the Inamura situation, because it all comes back round to what's going on at Celtic's scouting department. Mm-hmm. The comments made for Brendan today about Inamura were concerning for me. Again, it's not at that level yet. Came in as a centre half / left back, but defensively not ready. Needs development, maybe on loan. Right? Why is Brendan signing off on that then? It's all concerning, mate. But anyway, that's another conversation. Let's stick to Vardy. Yeah. Where are you thinking? If he does come in, Phil, is he just instantly the number one striker?
Well, Vlad Vida, what do you think of that? Jesus, well, so Vlad Vida, you've got to play for the jersey. You've got to earn the jersey, and right now he does for him. From what I've seen, I don't think we're going to get much different from what we got last year. Yeah, he did still score 20-something goals last season, but I don't think the consistency will be there. I think it'll be very similar. 4 games without a goal, then 4 games in a row where he might score. Right now, I think we're just going to get that again. Is Jamie Vardy going to provide goals every single game, or every couple of games? Another thing you've got to factor in is how we play under Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, compared to the Leicester team that he was playing under that won the FA Cup, and even going further back, I mean the Leicester team that won the league, their whole thing that season was 4-4-2. I mean, they broke the mold in an era where every team wants to play 4-2-3-1. In the mid-2010s, Leicester came along and just totally broke the mold with 4-4-2. It was him up front, and it was a Japanese striker. I can't remember the Japanese striker that played alongside him, but it was a lot of long balls over the top to Jamie Vardy in behind with his pace, and he would score. It's going to be a lot of games now. Going by how our strikers usually play, going by how Kyogo was playing under Brendan, how Adamida seems to play under Brendan, is he going to ask Jamie Vardy to drop deep if he was to sign and, run into the channels and, with his back to goal rather than, looking at the goal, waiting to try to get onto the end of through balls and whatnot? These are all factors that are going to come into play. To say the way we're playing under Brendan is very different, I think, to, what he was playing at Leicester. In terms of how I feel about it, again, it's a sticky plaster. I agree with you when you bring up things like there is an appeal there with Vardy, even at his age, where things like the shithousery and stuff. He's the type of guy that if he's an opposition player, you're going to hate him. You're going to absolutely hate him, but he'll be our player, so he'll get under all the players. Remember Craig Bellamy years ago when he played for Celtic for that half season? Unbelievable talent for us, but he was very good at the whole getting under players' skin, annoying them and fans, annoying opposition fans. And that, so it's there's wee things like that I'm kind of intrigued to see. I do think he would probably do okay here, but I'd say overall, to me, it is a bit of a sticky plaster. I found it interesting, the quote that was doing the rounds in the newspapers yesterday about, his eyes set on a move to Celtic, a reunion with Brendan Rodgers, and wants to play till he's 40. I was like, well, that's great. There's a good chance that Brendan Rodgers probably won't still be here when you're 40 with the way things are going, because I was quite confident that Brendan will probably sign an extension once the window's closed. I sort of felt that. Now I'm leaning towards, I don't think so now. I think it's getting
Would you
more
though?
towards
Would you
it's
if you were
not happening.
Brendan? If you were Brendan, would you? I mean,
Oh.
if like when everything's going against you in your workplace, you just think to yourself, "What am I doing here? I've got." Brendan's still a top quality manager. Would he get back into a Premier League side? Yes, I think he would. I think a West Ham, when they inevitably sack Graham Potter, certainly could do worse than a Brendan
Brentford might
Rodgers.
be looking for a new manager pretty soon. I was watching them at the weekend on Super Sunday. They were abysmal. So
There's,
that
like he
yeah.
could walk into any of those Premier League clubs down and from the middle downwards. Like I think the ship sailed when it comes to the big guns. I mean, there was even rumours about the Tottenham job at one point, but like, I mean, when he's literally got a begging bowl out here at this point, being like, "Give me something." I'll even like if I have to go and give my 38-year-old pal a call because you guys will not give me 8 million to go and buy, or 10 million to go and buy a who's the boy that's at Feyenoord that we keep getting linked with?
Calvin Stengs. He scored a free
Right.
kick against us a couple of years ago in the Champions League.
Then, and I think this is you wouldn't blame him not signing a new contract. Like, I think there'll be there's so many question marks over the squad still as well. Like he's going on about like, don't be worrying about where you could be playing next season. Celtic pays your wages right now.
Yeah.
Like who was he referencing there? Was he talking about Maeda? Was he talking about or just boys that are desperate to get out on loan because they're just not getting game times? If I'm being, I don't think Maeda leaves this window. I think he leaves in
I think
January.
there is a danger of that, yeah. Depending where we are in the
do think he
Champions
leaves in
League as well,
January.
because
I think
there'll still be the last two games to play at the tail end of January, similar to Kyogo last year, where it was pretty much after we qualified against Young Boys, the second last game. He was off on the plane the next day. It was almost like he was told to stick around to help us go over that line. If we qualify for the Champions League and if we find ourselves in that position again, is Maeda going to get that treatment? I think this also comment I brought up here from Dennis Jameson's quite good. Rodgers said that Ida needs competition, which, yeah, he did. I remember him saying that. He maybe thinks Vardy might be the player. Rodgers is, I think, could push Ida on. I mean, again, if Ida, if you're in that position and a 38-year-old free agent who's not kicked a ball since May, and as I say, isn't exactly the beacon of fitness at the best of times, comes in and instantly takes your place. And I'd like to think it would light a fire under Adamida, because a lot of us fans are scratching our head, David, how do we give Adamida that proverbial kick up the arse that he needs at times? Because again, his body language and stuff doesn't do him many favours. And it's like you'd like to think that that's the type of thing that will motivate him. But it's like, Jamie Vardy, I know there is pros and cons to the deal if it does happen, if he does indeed come here. But again, you'd like to think, Adam Ida would look at that and would fire him up. So when he does get some time on the park, he takes those minutes, he takes the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, having a player of Vardy's intelligence as well would and football intelligence. I don't know how clever he is in terms of being a mathematician or anything like that. But his footballing intelligence, I'm sure, would only benefit the strikers that we have at the club. Like to learn from a player of that level. Is I'm just a bit concerned when I watch the way we play right now that our strikers just aren't benefiting from the way we're set up. I mean, it was working when Maeda went through the middle with that pace and obviously just everything he touched turned to goals pretty much. Nothing he could do no wrong almost apart Maeda at that point. But Kyogo, it really was, we were starting to make excuses as to why Kyogo wasn't really scoring as often. We've changed the system, it's not working. He's asking him to come do deep. And then I think when you watch Adamida play, he's everywhere on that pitch except the box. And I kind of want a player of Adamida's stature to be in the box, especially when Kieran Tierney's whipping in crosses like he does. And I just wonder, is Jamie Vardy going to be asked to do something similar? I don't think he's going to be able to do that again at the age that he is. But I don't know, man. I don't know what Adam Ida needs to get a kick up the arse. Like, he played out his skin to earn that contract, and and he obviously he wanted that contract badly. He wanted to come play for us, but I just wonder if he's been given that contract. He's signed the club that he's always wanted to play for, and then he's just kind of got a little bit too settled, which is weird considering he wasn't considered the number one striker at the time. I just wonder if even like knowing that once Kyle goes away, I'm sorted, and that's just the attitude he's maybe had, and it's maybe just kind of letting him down a little bit. But Brendan's supposed to be this incredible man to man-on-man coach here that's supposed to get the best out of players, and I think even he's at the point where he doesn't really know what's needed to get Adam done. Maybe that's why he's turned to his old mate Jamie Vardy to be like, look, I need you to come in and teach this boy how to play, because right now nothing I'm doing is working.
Yeah, one of the comments I highlighted says, Ida and Kenny could probably learn a lot from Jamie Vardy, to be fair. There's no doubt about it. So the guy has done a lot in the game. But a few things that you said earlier on as well, just again going back to the scouting and the system. Now, obviously, we're not exactly privy to the ins and outs, but you'd like to think that something is happening. The scouts aren't just sitting around all day looking at their phone and just doing nothing. And again, Brendan keeps on coming out and saying things in interviews and press conferences after games and whatnot about, we need quality. He just keeps on hammering home this point. And I just keep getting this vision in my head where he's got to be getting recommended players. The scouting team have to be filing reports on players and presenting it to him. And I've just got this vision in my head that everybody they're presenting, he's just going, nah, not him, not the right quality. And it's like, well, what is it that you're looking for exactly? It's not. I can't imagine every player that they're recommending is bad. Surely not. It's got to, again, going back to you said earlier on, Brendan signing off on deals, guys like Inamura, that whole fiasco. Again, Brendan said 2 years ago when he came back that I'm happy with the setup here and I get final say on all the transfers. But then things that he said during this summer about certain players that have came in kind of suggest that that's not really the case, is it? So again, I just can't imagine that all the scouts are just like sitting around doing hee-haw. And yeah, they must be recommending players to him, but as every one of them that they're coming to, Brenda's just going, nah, not him. Nah, he's not the right one. Nah, he's not the right quality we're looking for. It's like, what exactly are we looking for in that one? So that one really confuses me, David. They're like, how does it work? And what exactly is it the manager is looking for?
Beats me, man. He's signed off on Osman signing to go and play in the B team. Now I think that's probably perfectly suitable because he doesn't look like there's much going on there. In what we've seen of him in pre-season, I'm sure he'll score a barrel load in that B side. But when we're letting, I'm not saying he's the answer, but like you see that Kieran Bowie's a clear like sort of up and coming talent in Scottish football, big Scottish lad. I'm sure he's for Kirkcaldy, just 10 minutes down the road to me. And in fact, he actually played for a local team that my shop was sponsoring last year. I didn't know that at the time. He's banging stupid goals in the Europa League qualifiers for Hibs there, and looks a real handful. Scottish international now, and I think we said why we not even like we went and signed some boy for Fulham Academy to go play on our B side, spending what did we like? I probably paid $100 for him anyway, but we're going and looking and signing this boy, and we've got a real good Scottish talent in our league that looks like could be a real up and coming talent. Like, why are we not looking at someone like him? And he kind of looks exactly like the kind of mold that Brendan would like out of a striker. But I really don't know what Brendan wants, because, and I think that his mind games, if you want to call it that, within like this game of chess with the board is affecting the likes of Dyson Maeda. Like, he's not going to play Dyson through the middle right now because then it tells the board that you don't need a striker. Then you're going to play Dyson. But if it doesn't, but and then it's like, well, but if I move him to the middle, I still need the wingers. I think there's it's getting concerning, Phil, that it's like there has not been a solid, apart from this Jamie Vardy thing in the last 24 hours, there has been zero solid link to any player that actually has any substance to it that you would actually go, all right, okay, like none. Like we keep going round in circles with players like Balakwisha and that other boy, is it Stelik or something? And
David
the boy
Strelic, for Bratislava, yeah.
And the boy that's the Rangers signed his teammate, or is that Strelic? Sorry,
no, that's Antman that signed for Rangers, so it's Jacob Broom or Graham or
like
something.
These names, they keep coming around us, but they get no further forward, and then you start seeing them ones getting linked with Middlesbrough or whatever, and you're just thinking like, right, so that was just another name thrown at the media. Callum McGregor's comments today was giving it all about like, everybody wants everything done really fast, and we want it to be, you need to have patience and blah 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 blah, and it's like, right, yeah, but look what patience brought us last season. A £9 million striker that's probably worth no more than 3.5. An £11 million, record signing of a boy that, let's face it, like was playing in a lower Bundesliga side. Barely, he was hardly even like a main player in that squad. Who's a good player, by the way. I think he gets a lot of stick, but like he's not an £11 million player, whatever that even is now.
Well,
it
depends on what week you're in, I guess. It depends.
That's what patience. That's what patience got us. I'm not saying going and just sign everybody in the first 5 minutes, but just look back at Ange's January transfer window. We had Maeda, Hatate, and the other one that slips my mind. They were signed before the window. Before the window had actually opened. It was like
they were the days.
They were in, and you're like, right, well, okay. Now two out of the three have been a success. Like, I think majority of Ange's signings have been a success. Now I know people might throw at me, well, we got Yakimakis and Carmen Carter-Vickers on the last day of the window. Don't go to sleep yet, Celts and all that. But I feel like there was a little bit of luck when it came to Carmen Carter-Vickers. Getting him, the quality. I don't think any of us seen that happening, like the level of player that we got there. I think so that there has, like, yes, I'll be patient for the right player, but don't make me be patient and then tell me I'm signing a 38-year-old striker that's been a free agent since fucking May. That's not been part of the transfer plan. Because if that was the case of Jamie Vardy as a priority signing that we want in, get him in now, so he's got his pre-season, he's tanned all the Red Bull that he needs to get ready for the season, and we're off on our way for our Champions League fixture that we've got tomorrow. We don't. We've got an underperforming striker with zero confidence that's like being hounded off the social media, like on social media by his own fans, and rightly so at times. We've got a boy that we were getting told was getting loaned out, or we were trying to punt to Blackburn, who's just signed a brand new contract, who looks, nowhere near it. And this Japanese boy that, while he looks at Rodgers has no real interest in using. That, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's the reality that we're at right now. And yes, I think we'll do just fine against that lot. I'm sure we'll get on to talking about them. They're not at a standard that we should be really concerned about. But we've seen this story a million times.
Phil. Yeah, we have. Aye, it's on you go.
So what I'm saying is that okay, we probably do and should have enough to beat that team, but patience has got us nowhere right now, Phil. So I'm getting kind of tired of being told that I need to be patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Brendan even said today that, ideally you want, these players in as quickly as possible, but he did say that, I have to put the confidence in what we've got just now. We'll get on talk about this thing against Kairat. So obviously we don't know particularly much about them. We're not going to sit here and say we're experts on Kazakhstan football, but you kind of knew when the draw came out, Bratislava or Kairat, you just had this feeling that we're going to end up getting the one that's the furthest distance away, aren't we? But of course, they have to travel to us as well, so it works both ways essentially. And to be fair, since the draw and since we've ended up getting them, it's actually no as bad as I thought, because I thought, well, it was before Ibrox, it's going to be only a few days. We're actually playing on the Tuesday. We should be obviously back home by the Wednesday, and you've still got Thursday, Friday, the Saturday to prepare for Ibrox, so it's not too bad in the end. But yeah, obviously tomorrow night, home game first. So ideally, I would have preferred the away leg to be first, because again, we were seeded in the draw, so I thought part of the advantage of being a seeded team, David, was that you got the away leg first and the home leg second to give you that wee advantage, but not just the way the draw came out. That's how it was. But I said it last week. I was on with Pam and I was on with Connor. PTSD, you just mentioned it there. We've been here before. There has been teams that we've played at this stage, and even in knockout stages after Christmas in Europa League and Champions League, where you're like, we've got a chance here, or we should be beating these teams, and then something goes wrong. So we cannot take them lightly in any way, shape, or form. I know their coefficient points are like worse than Heart and Midlothian or something like that. I think it was pointed out. But again, we should be looking to, take them at the cleaners tomorrow night. Now, of course, this team are going to come and they're going to sit with 10 men behind the ball. They're going to look to try and keep the game as close as possible, maybe hit us on the counter if they can get anything. Obviously, they will be absolutely elated, but ultimately their goal will be to make sure that the tie is close going back to Kazakhstan, because it turns out they've not even conceded a goal at home in any of the qualifiers they've played so far. So they're a bit hard to break down, and of course we're going to have to play them quite intense heat next week as well for their away leg. So ideally, David, what we'll be looking for tomorrow night is we have to do what we did against Astana a few years ago, where we beat them 5-0 at Celtic Park. Granted, yes, we nearly did somehow manage to throw away the second leg. It was an uncomfortable second leg, but we do need a big performance tomorrow night, because you want to make sure that going out there for the second leg is not a formality. I think the tie will still be on the line in some capacity, but you want to try and make it as comfortable as possible for the players next week.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be, like you said, they'll definitely try to make it as stuffy and as frustrating as possible. Nothing that we aren't used to at Celtic Park, though, Phil. A team at that of that level, they literally play it almost every second week. So the players should know what to expect when it comes to that. Obviously, it's just a team that they don't play very often at all. So, however, I think the guys know what's at stake, and I'm sure a few of them will have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, maybe us fans kind of questioning the squad's capabilities and quality and why it needs to be reinforced so much. So, which hopefully will light a fuel under some of them, and they'll turn up and wipe the floor with.
The thing is, it's the players
Kairat,
that were there last season. They've just got to look at that Champions League campaign last season and think, do you want that again? Simple as that. Simple question.
That's what I mean. Like they know that, and they might be sitting there going, well, these fans aren't really quite on board at the minute right now, because obviously for valid reasons. But I think they might want to use that to try and prove a point and go, look, I am the quality player that you need. I am the striker that you've been crying out for. Dyson. No, I am here for another season. Don't you worry about that. I want to see Rio Hatate absolutely splitting defences, and I want to see Arnie Engels with those crosses, those set pieces, and a bit more oomph to his game. I think, and obviously that Negrin coming in and wanting to show everybody that he is. You're not going to be none of these quality signings coming in. I've just came in and I'm going to prove that I am exactly what you've been asking for. So hopefully that will be the case, and we do turn up tomorrow and wipe the floor with them, and the tie's over, so we don't need to stress too much about who we field next week, and then focus on obviously the up and coming Rangers game and stuff. But I'm not too concerned, Phil. I'm not too concerned. It could equally be one of those. We could have had a barrel load of goals and walk away with 1-0 win. But I don't see that though. I do think it'd be nice for our strikers to turn up tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh God, I could do wonders for them, especially with the second leg in the game at Ibrox coming up before the first international break. Now is a good time to find that for them, find that confidence out of me that this could be it. But tomorrow an early goal would just be ideal. You just come out the traps flying and just get rid of the atmosphere. I think will be pretty good. I think again, there's a similar theme here, David, with every time we go to play a game, there seems to be a result the day before from another team that seems to put everybody in quite a good mood. And obviously tonight it's ended 3-1 with their game. So I'd imagine tomorrow night a lot of fans will go with, a bit buoyant about that one. Because every game we've played so far, we've played on the Sunday in the first weekend of the season. They drew the day before. We played Aberdeen. Again, they drew the day before. And the Champions League qualifier tonight for them's not going particularly well. Because that was something I think was looming in a lot of fans' minds about, if they get into that, if they get in and they get that money. I know it's only half time in their tie, but they're 3-1 down now. So that will perk up a few of the fans. So I think the atmosphere tomorrow will be rocking, and we're going to need that because we cannot go and underestimate this team and say if we're flying right from the start and it's an atmosphere. Because let's be honest, Kairat will never have played in an atmosphere like that. Because tomorrow night you'll get the full Champions League branding and whatnot. They do the whole Champions League anthem as well for the playoff round. So that noise is going to hit them hard. They will not have experienced this before. And I saw an interview with Kasper Schmeichel yesterday on the news talking about that. And he says, like last season, his thing when he was standing in that lineup at the start when the music's playing and the camera's going on, he's always keeping his eyes on the opposition bench just to see the reaction of those guys and the coaching staff and all that. And he says you could see them, like, they've a lot of the teams that came to Celtic Park last season are like, this is different because genuinely, you at times cannot hear that anthem at all. You watch European Champions League games on the telly and whatnot, and a lot of the times, the anthem at the start does get a roar from a lot of crowds within the continent. But at Celtic Park, genuinely, there are times you don't even know it's playing half the time because it is that loud. And Celtic Park's going to need to be like that tomorrow night because this team will be hopefully spooked by that right off the bat. And if Celtic get a couple early goals, then hey presto. But of course, they will look at the mould of going to like what St Mirren did on the first day, just keep it stodgy, keep it tight, and just try and just stifle us. But a couple of come out the traps flying, then you just hopefully we can just rattle them and then go on and win comfortably. Now, one position, obviously, there's a few positions that are up for debate, but the winger position right now is obviously basically the hand we've been dealt right now is Maeda has to play on the left. That's going to be the way it is because of the injury problems we've got. And the right wing one is got to be James Forrest again. And of course, he is an experienced player in this department. He did score a very legendary winning goal against a Kazakhstan team before against Shakhtar Karagandhi many moons ago. It was a fantastic one, that, although it was a nervy 90 minutes to get to that point. But Jesus Christ, it was worth it at the end when he scored that one. But we're going to have to rely on people like him tomorrow. And hopefully he can turn back the years. But so far in the games that he's played, he's looked all right. He's not got the blistering pace anymore. But he still looks, like he's still got something at least to offer at this stage. So, but guys like him tomorrow, he's going to be very, very crucial. And another name as well that's always up to me is in the middle of the park. You obviously highlight Nygren there. I think Nygren's looked really good in the games he's played so far. But Arnie Engels, I thought last Friday, he was playing with a bit of anger. Which I want to see. I want to see that from Engels. It's like you've came here with a big price tag. It's always going to follow him around no matter what. It's always going to be there. But I thought last Friday against Falkirk, he really showed that I can dictate playing games. I can show up like he did and say he was unlucky really unlucky not to score last week as well with the free kick that hit the crossbar. So in terms of the wingers, I think you'd agree James Forrest to start there, but with that midfield spot, Negrin or Engels, do you think will get the nod?
Well, I think you're right. I think Forrest will start on the right. I'd seen a few suggestions that Negrin play out on the right to accommodate getting Engels in the midfield, which I wouldn't be against either, because but obviously Forrest doesn't have that blistering pace anymore, which we wouldn't exactly get from Negrin either. So I mean, I wouldn't be against that as an option, Phil, playing Negrin out on the right, but I think obviously what we have seen of him so far, he's been very good, but he's been very good in that more central role. So I will agree with you. I think Forrest will be on the right, and then it is a case of is it going to be Negrin or is it going to be Engels? I can't decide. On current form, Negrin. If I was Rodgers and I was trying to play the game a little bit in terms of, I'm maybe thinking way too much into this, right? But there's a lot of debate that maybe Rodgers has lost a bit of credit in the bank when it comes to signing because of how much money he spent on Engels, and he's maybe not worked out quite how they wanted. But maybe a little part of it's like, maybe I should play Engels because I've spent that 11 million on him and I need him to turn up. So I could go, right, can I get another 11 million, please? So, like, I could see that being a factor in decision there with Roger going, we have to play by £11 million, man. So I can go, right, look what happens when you give me 11 million. Give me an 11 more. But if you put a gun to my head, I would say Forrest is out on the right. Negrin probably starts with Hatate and McGregor, and then you bring Engels on to help maybe just control the midfield a little bit more. Because I think, even though I think Rodgers wants Engels to be that more turning face forward and get that ball forward kind of player, I just don't think he has that instinct in him. I think if it wasn't for the fact that Callum McGregor plays where he does, Engels would probably be wanting to kind of play more in that role than be the guy that's trying to dictate the pace of the game and going forward in a more attacking sense. So if we're wanting to be on the front foot early doors, I think he goes with Negrin in the midfield with Hatate and McGregor, and then of course Maeda out on the left. And then obviously your right back position, the left back position pick themselves. It's really, but it really does come down to who
How about that left centre back position though? Liam Scales going to get the nod, Austin Trusty, or does a Jemai Simpson Pusey appear out of nowhere?
I don't think Pusey goes straight in. I think if anything, I thought Pusey would have maybe got the nod against Falkirk to kind of get to see.
Or at least off the bench. He was even in the match day squad, I don't think.
Yeah. He's going to pick Scales, but I'd go with Trusty. I think Trusty's shown in pre-season that he looks a lot more settled into the squad now. I know he had a couple of Kieran Tierney was bollocking at him at the Falkirk game for a couple of mistakes. But I think if you're wanting to be, I think Scales always does really well when it comes to getting rid of that ball when it comes in, when we kind of got our backs against the wall. But when he has to think about when he gets time to have the ball and think what he wants to do, I think it kind of goes against him sometimes. I think I'd rather see Trusty in that position alongside Carter Vickers, but I mean sometimes it's really just a case of a flip of the coin with those two right now.
I think it's a thing with the left-sided centre back for years now, and this whole we want to play out from the back, going even back to when Ange was the manager. Of course, Starfelt, how many times when he was allowed to dwell on the ball and carry it out of defence and having to play passes, played herself into danger. But when it came to just the fundamentals of just defending, Starfelt was decent. And at times, Liam
Love
Scales
Starfelt,
can. Oh, I remember the many debates. Terry was never Starfelt's biggest fan, was he? Let's be honest on that one.
Aye.
He would not give him the time of day. But
Careful what
like
you wish for.
With Scales again, I feel like at times he showed it in the St Mirren game in the first game of the season, where a couple of wayward passes at the start of the game were a bit shaky. But when it came to just the basics of defending, and he's had some moments as well, even in Champions League games. He's had man of the match awards and whatnot when it comes to very basic fundamentals. But it always feels like no matter what centre back we put in there, and this is the weird bit, I always feel like you look at Carter Vickers' profile, you're like, surely he must be a good ball playing defender. He just has that vibe about him that he is a guy that can play out for the back. But we never seem to ask Carter Vickers to be that guy to do it. It's always the one next to him. And Trusty's a bit shaky at it. Dane Murray, I thought last Friday, he was again, when it came to just the basic fundamentals of defending, he was okay. He didn't do himself any harm, but there was a few shaky passes out of defence. And again, it's like defenders' jobs first and foremost is just to defend. And it's like, but every manager, and this is a Brendan Rodgers thing, every manager nowadays wants to play this out from the back and start the play for the changing the angle of attack. I think Brendan Rodgers called it, or whatever it was he said last season when he had his rant about the fans moaning about it. And it's like every centre back. So I think whoever he picks, when it comes to just the sort of defending, I think they're okay, they're fine. But yeah, we play ourselves into trouble. I find more often than not when teams do get chances against us, it's because we've made a mess somewhere at the back and it's involved a slack pass out of defence. So that's where my concern always comes in with Liam Scales and even Austin Trusty.
Aye, the passing. It's the passing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like opposite. You see opposition teams allow Scales to be on the ball.
Yeah.
And I think they've all recognised that he is the weak link when it comes to the playing out from the back. I mean, is he left-sided? Is he a left-sided?
He's right-sided, but again, I think this boy's going to come up here and get some significant game time, so he's going to have to play on the left-hand side. But
yeah,
and Starfelt played there, and even a couple of games last season, the Rocky was right-footed, played there. I don't think it's strictly you have to have a left footer on the left side. You can get away with it, but again, as long as his defending is up to scratch, the first and foremost, then yeah, we shouldn't have too many worries there. But yeah, the passing out from the back, it's just we play ourselves into trouble quite a lot. So hopefully tomorrow night we do not put ourselves in such a moment, any sort of danger where we allow them to have chances from a slack pass out from the back. But again, I know football's not played on paper, but we should be looking at a decent win tomorrow night. We don't want to be going to the second leg, heaven forbid, trailing or drawing the game. And we don't want to be going there with just a narrow lead. We want to be going out there with hopefully as comfortable a lead as we can get, David. So, prediction. Should we do a prediction before it? Should we cuss it in any way, or should we just?
Why not?
Oh,
we always fuck it.
All right.
I'm gonna go 4-0 Dyson hat trick.
Oh, Dyson hat trick. He saves it for the Champions League.
Bringing that back.
Yeah, he's saving it for the Champions League. Yeah, I mean, I would like to think it was something similar. I'll say it'll be 3-0. Ideally, you obviously want to be even more than that, but I'll go for 3-0. Usually I always say in my prediction, as long as Celtic win, but this is, I don't want just a narrow win. I don't want to be going out there with a 1-0 or a 2-1. Say, for the purposes of getting through, we need to make sure we're as comfortable as possible going into that second leg, because by the sounds that I say, they're quite stodgy to break down at their own stadium. So, yeah, we want to go out there and, hopefully have the tie pretty much there, but say some PTSD does kick in when I think about Astana a few years ago. We've been very nearly through that away, and there was a game against Beersheva. Remember them as well in Brendan's first season. We were 5-2 up from the first leg, and it was the most uncomfortable match I think I've ever watched. That second leg, we lost 2-0 on the night. Craig Gordon saved a penalty for I think the first time he'd ever saved a penalty when he was a Celtic goalkeeper. But it was a really hard watch that night. One of those ones you should watch it from behind the couch. Honestly, it was just this is horrendous. I'm on the edge of, I'm honestly biting all my nails off here just through the nerves. So hopefully we can just not be in that position for the second leg next week. A comfortable performance tomorrow. Say a wee early goal. just to calm the nerves, get the place rocking, then I think we can go on and win quite comfortably then. So I'll say we'll go that. A few people in the comments I'm seeing coming up as well. They're very confident 4-0s and 5-0s all flying around. So fingers crossed that's the case tomorrow night. But looking forward to it. I think there'll be a buoyant mood around a lot of the fan base with results elsewhere tonight. So I will call it there because we're coming up to an hour anyway, David. We're only going to, we came on a bit later than we usually do. 9:30 is a bit past our bedtime. Usually 9 o'clock's like the latest we do a show, but 9:30 tonight started to say
late night Tuesdays.
That game was going on, so I thought, we won't go on too early because we'll clash with that game. But we'll get heading. So tomorrow night the plan is that Terry will be back, L plates and all, doing the post-match show. He'll be hosting that again. I think Liam might make it along. Mick was supposed to join him on Friday. He's going to try and get on tomorrow night. But anyway, Terry will be in the driving seat, say with the L plates out, which I thought was a very, very funny touch when I saw it. I was like, that's actually quite smart. Right? I like that. He'll be along to do that. That'll be on about, the game will finish about 9:45 roughly tomorrow. So probably sometime just after 10, maybe 10 past, 10, whatever. But of course, if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll see it pop up in your notifications. It'll be the hit the bell notification, be reminded when it's on the road. And hopefully when Terry and that are on, they've got a rousing Celtic victory to talk about. And then it's all eyes on Livingston coming to town on Saturday. Oh, David Martindale and his cloggers. Oh no. Always hate a game against Livingston. So we've got that on Saturday. Then it'll be the second leg, and then Rangers. So it's a busy couple of weeks coming up. And of course, there is a transfer window that'll be closing in that time as well. So hopefully we've got some interesting signings to talk about between now and then.
Are we doing our yellow tie? Are we doing our yellow tie night, Phil?
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I think so. I don't see any reason why not. It's a Monday night. I think it's after the game at Ibrox. The game actually Sunday, so it's a Monday night. I think is the transfer deadline night. So it's the night after Ibrox. So I guess we could. We never know.
A late one. We do a late night live.
Don't go to bed yet. Celts. Jamie Vardy turning up at 11 o'clock.
We can just have a bit of a
Michelle Ange Balakisha turning up at 11 o'clock.
That's limping in Celtic way.
Yeah.
Wait on me, guys. Wait on me. Didn't he close that window yet?
Jesus. Oh, man, honestly. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. But we'll head off now, folks. It has been that's about an hour we've done anyway. In crutches, But we will be, look out for the bus home tomorrow night about the back of 10 for the Kaidak game. And hopefully a big Celtic victory tomorrow. A lot of positives to talk about from that one. And we shall catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks again, and we shall see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.